you want to see this?
Okay, let's see.
Cheap
What?
glasses. Yeah. You can see how fuzzy I'm there.
Yeah.
That is it on maximum focus distance.
What? That's clever. That is clever.
99p pair of glasses from China.
Welcome everybody, LostScarf here with basically a podcast with Jon from Killer Bits.
Yo, Am I trapped in a box this time? I haven't got the full extent of the frame.
Oh dear. Yeah, we're messing with, of course, the size, everything.
Yep.
Equal footing. But thinking about if it's a return person, what should they talk about? I guess just more on, I guess with the channel, what do you think of your improvement from the beginning? Like where you are now?
Oh, what? The journey, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Where is this? If I could write a letter to my past self, what would I advise? That kind of idea.
Sure, let's go with that.
I don't know, really. It's because the whole thing with YouTube, Twitch streaming, all that. It is just a constant learning experience. So it is just trying to learn stuff. There's probably advice you could give yourself if you looked back and where you started, but it's one of those things you really need to kind of make mistakes early on to actually learn what works, what doesn't, and still now I'm always trying stuff when I can to actually see what's worth changing up, what's worth focusing on, and all that kind of thing. So it's pretty difficult to kind of look back. I mean, I always try and do kind of post-mortems every kind of 6 months or so and say, right, what do I need to change in that? But it's an organic process, this whole YouTube life. And I don't know really what I'd say about, where I came from to where I am now. It's just, you make mistakes, you learn from those mistakes, you progress, change, was it adapt, overcome, something or other.
Well, we're like trees. It's all about growth at the end of the day. Just growing up and everything. And you don't see where the last growth point for a tree is anyway. Like,
no,
you got to cut them open for the rings. So, not cut us open. That'd be good.
Going a little dark, a little soon there.
I do like every 6 months. Like for me, I think it's like every year. Like on the anniversary, I'll take stock and everything.
Yeah.
And maybe at the new year, I'll take stock too. It's a good idea to do that for sure.
Yeah, it tends to be, you start taking stock when it's the quiet period. So it's the summer and it's January when everything dies.
Yeah.
Okay, what do I do now?
This is the best time for it. Like with the drought and everything. Like, well, what else do I have to think about right now? No games to distract me with. They're coming, but they're not here yet. And
saying that, I have managed to start planning out what the rest of this month and starting into August is. So
yeah,
it seems like the drip feed of games is starting to come back now, thankfully. And there's a whole bunch of betas getting ready for launches probably in the holiday period this year as well. So we'll probably get start to get tasters, because I mean there's stuff like Fortnite is only a couple of weeks away in that, and all that kind of thing. So that all that stuff is starting to drip feed through.
I've been wondering about that. Why is there a summer? Like, besides the black hole that is the Steam sale.
Yeah.
Like, there's like bookend around that Steam sale. Maybe it is the Steam sale's the fault for it. Is there's just nothing there, and then there's nothing a little bit after.
I always think, is it something to do with the fact, we have stuff like E3, we have Gamescom, we have Tokyo Game Show and all that. Is it literally just a marketing thing? These big studios have a set amount of marketing budget for, a quarter or a certain month and that. And if they're having to pay out to put on a show for E3 and that, they can't afford to promote X number of games. So this is why they push all the games towards when they're going to sell, which is always, September, October, November time.
Yeah.
So I reckon at the end of the day, it's money.
Always.
We'd like to play games during the summer, but for some reason, the bigger publishers and studios and that don't want to release them. So
Yeah.
it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy then.
So it becomes a question, why isn't there a wave of like indies right in the middle where there's no big companies to compete with, I guess?
I don't know. It's, again, because now indies that are in that odd position to get visibility, they need some sort of like marketing machinery behind them, whether they release themselves or if they go with these kind of smaller publishers like Devolver or Tiny Build or Adult Swim and things like that. And then once again, we're into that whole thing of, well, those companies have a marketing budget and maybe and they put on a show like the Devolver's conference at E3.
Yes. Yeah, so, oh my god.
Yeah, is that bringing back memories for you? You're trying to repress them.
What an interesting use of money there. Like, it could have been, they could save their budget, like, Devolver and Adult Swim combined did this conference because that's very Adult Swim what they did. They could have saved money on that. Like, they hit too many cooks on that one pretty sharply. That was a ridiculous thing.
People still talk about it. So, I mean, it did what it set out to do, which was, get the press attention for being batshit crazy, essentially.
I suppose so, it did. It did work out. Like, no one's talking about the other ones still. Like, I only remember just because I pay attention to, like, Jesse Wells. I know him as the guy who completely just deer in the headlights for Need for Speed. That's all I remember. Apparently he's a prank guy. All I know is he's that, though. Just little bits, but yeah. Devolver probably took away on that one. Unless there's just some game you're really looking forward to, which are plenty out there, luckily.
Yeah, I mean, that was one decent thing about this year's E3, whether we'll get the same with Gamescom and, Tokyo. And also, PlayStation do their experience? Or is that later in the year? I can't remember. It all becomes a fuzzy mess. I can't remember. But, yeah, at least with E3, it was the games we were talking about mostly, as opposed to, the shows and the companies. It was the actual games that stick in your mind.
They're like the other years where it was like, how big a focus they're all making on TV. Or
sports. TV, sports.
Or the HoloLens, which we saw nothing about.
Nope.
Which was interesting. Or just so much focus on not games has happened.
Yeah.
And the focus on games, like, this is what we came for. We got it this time, so it's great.
You're saying about the HoloLens. Obviously, at the moment, is it Oculus is trying to do a big push at the moment with the VR because they're doing their summer VR thing where they've knocked like 200 quid off the price of the Rift, the controllers, and you get a bunch of games. So it's like essentially almost like $1,000 worth of kit for $400. I think it was. So something ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
So they're trying to push hard the VR thing, but again, it's one of those. It's still in that kind of catch-22 of people aren't buying the hardware because there isn't the games, and people aren't producing the games because there isn't enough people with the hardware. So. Yeah.
But it's getting there, though, because, PlayStation made a big push because they sold 1 million units, and I think Oculus needs to catch up as one of the other problems. They just need to move units just so they can catch up and have it. And, like, someone's got to pay, and it's going to be the companies making the hardware, not going to be it can't always rely on the customers. That was an interesting conversation back when Switch was coming out, where it was Nintendo fans were like, you got to buy the system, you got to buy it, you got to show support, or else people aren't going to go after it. It's like, well, they need to make enough of them, apparently, now. Like, everyone's still trying to buy the Switch.
Yeah.
And, like, I get that
because
mentality.
Apple is eating up all the memory chips that they're required to build the Switch?
Oh, jeez. Like, it's so complicated and everything. But, like, I get, like, Wii U didn't work out because people weren't super into it at the start.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to learn from that. Fans are trying to learn from that and say, like, get it early. And, like, yeah, people want it. It's just not enough of them.
Yeah.
Every time. It's just not enough of them. Every time.
But, I mean, going back to where we started with the HoloLens, I think the reason we didn't hear anything about that this year is because, once again, no developers are producing for it because, admittedly, the HoloLens hasn't been released even in like where, you know, back in the day, the Rift had its dev kits, you know, all that, but people were buying them, you know, actual, you know, consumers were buying them to try it out and that.
Yeah.
There hasn't been that kind of uptake for HoloLens and augmented reality. So once again, the developers aren't producing because there's no base to actually supply to the customers and that.
I think that's partially just because there's already the Rift and the Vive and all those. Like, those are there. HoloLens is different, but I think it took everyone who would be interested in that.
But with HoloLens, you can play Minecraft on your coffee table.
If they were able to actually fully implement that from the start, I'm actually curious, out of just curiosity, how many people would have bought it. Like, they're like, here's our thing, which nobody totally believes we can do, because there's no way, but
isn't HoloLens just going to go the same way as Google Glass and everything else along those routes?
Like, part of it is it probably will, and the other part is if you got to make inroads towards it, or else it's never going to happen anyway. So it's a lot of R&D getting wasted, but it's hopefully not wasted in the long run. Maybe we'll actually see viable, like, bits and pieces of that technology may be useful in the future.
Yeah.
In some other incarnation, and maybe we will see the HoloLens in some other incarnation.
Is it going to be like the technology behind the Kinect? No one actually bothered using the Kinect with an Xbox, but lots of kind of, you know, hackers and developers and that found unusual ways. I mean, I saw music videos made with the Kinect, and a lot of kind of robotics firms and that use the Kinect sensors and things like that. So we could see, you know, whatever tech was going to be used in, you know, Google Glass or, you know, HoloLens or anything like that will show up, you know, a couple of years down the line in some of the tech we haven't thought of yet.
That is the useful thing, is people taking the imagination of something already and finding other ways to use it. And there's people who just dedicate to just doing interesting things with stuff like that. Like when the Wii came out,
I reckon if Nintendo got behind the VR bandwagon, then there would be a huge uptake, because that's the one thing. When Nintendo's done something, you've seen Microsoft and PlayStation and that copy it, because we had the Wii motion controls. What did Xbox and PlayStation do? They had the Move and the Kinect. Then we had the Wii U with touchscreen essentially, and then we had, you know, PlayStation put touchpads on the new dual shock controllers and things like that. So you always see whatever Nintendo does, other people try and copy. Yeah. So I would imagine if Nintendo did something along the lines of kind of VR and that kind of thing, we would see it kind of get some market penetration, essentially.
Well, they did. Called the
the Virtual Boy.
The Virtual Boy. Yeah.
They were way ahead of the time then.
Oh, God.
Giving seizures to teenagers.
Did you ever play the Virtual Boy?
No.
That was a weird experience, because it's just, it's in your head. It's basically wearing the VR set. You got your head in the thing, and it's just all red. The whole thing is red, and I remember playing Mario Tennis with that thing. And it's just, it's such a weird experience, because all you're basically doing is you're just looking at a Game Boy screen while your head's in this thing. You're not really utilizing everything. It was a weird idea.
And how long until the seizure wore off?
I don't know. Like, you had neck problems from that. Your eyes are just like, all I can see is
bleeding.
All I know is red. Red is all knowledge now. Such a weird experience, the Virtual Boy. But yeah, they have been a leader in a lot of innovation. That's the thing. Like, what Sony's quoted as saying, whatever Nintendo does, you hope they keep innovating because it helps the rest of the market out. And that's a great thing about Nintendo, is that they're always trying to innovate. And love it or not, that's what they do. And sometimes they do stuff people don't like. Or sometimes they do things that just come off as really weird or dumb, like the NES Classic. Why didn't we have more of those? It's weird, the things that
But it's only limited availability, you know. You've got to queue up for those pre-orders.
It's a weird idea, like that, and then the amiibo shortage always. I feel like they could be making more money than they do, but I guess they have some weird plan, and it still works considering they're still making money.
Exactly.
Despite angering
Are they
people all the
taking
time.
a cut from all the kind of grey market stuff, all these amiibos and NES classics being sold on eBay?
Sometimes I wonder if they're just scared because... Oh god, if they did that, but I wonder if they're scared because of what happened with Disney, with their amiibo game. They made like 2 million Hulks.
Yeah.
And they only sold like half of them. And so that killed all their gaming development. Because they overproduced on that. It's like, the Hulk alone, they thought the Hulk was going to be that popular. It's like,
yeah.
There's one dude. And that hurt them. It's like THQ when they went too far in on that tablet and they killed their company. It's weird when they just oversell something. So I wonder if Nintendo's just scared of that.
It wasn't producing all the, the 3-foot purple dildos for Saints Row that destroyed THQ.
Oh man. If anything, that made them more money somehow. The silliness of that. Oh man. Like, it's such a heartbreaker THQ going down because they were making good games. They were making a lot of money.
Yep.
But they went so far in on something that no one understands why they went in on it, and it killed them. Like, still don't get what they were doing with that. Like, only one doing it was Nintendo for the most part with the tablet, and they go in on this thing that no one really cared about, and how does that? I don't know. Sometimes executives are really weird. Like the decision that RPGs are dead, or that horror is dead, and all these things. A lot of things Jim Sterling complains about all the time. Like, why did
thankfully,
they decide
Greenlight's dead now.
At least it cost them $100 to throw Tad at us now, so there you go.
Yeah. But it did before, but they could do $100 and then have a whole slew of tat. Now it's $100 per piece of tat.
Yeah, there you go. At least there's that. I'm hoping it'll be better. Like, everyone's optimistic, so... But...
I don't know. I really don't know. Considering they said there was like a whole market economy behind just shoving out the shovelware and just making the money off the trading cards, I seriously think, the ones that are committed to doing that kind of thing, they'll get their $100 for each one anyway, so they don't care.
Now, I think about it, you're right on that part. Like, for the abuse of the system in that way, it's still going to go. And part of me is like, why didn't I think of that? Why didn't I think of that terrible practice?
What, you'd be sitting on your pile of money made out of trading cards.
Yeah, it's so weird. Trading cards. Like, I noticed that, like, if I'm really desperate, there's certain cards that are worth a little bit. I'll sell those and I can buy whatever I need. But I'm like, I never thought of it as something that could take off, and yet it has. It's so weird.
Yeah. Saying that, I from the past 6 months or whatever, all the kind of questionable games we get come through. I made about 15 quid's worth of off the trading cards on that. That was my summer sale.
Oh wow, it's crazy. It's a crazy thing that, and there's the whole. I don't know enough about to really talk about it, but just bringing it up for real quick is the whole CS:GO, those loot boxes and all the gambling going on there. I couldn't even imagine coming up with that idea of just have kids gambling with loot boxes in CS:GO.
Yeah. But the fact is, every game now is starting to have loot boxes. Obviously, Overwatch has certainly popularized the idea. But again, we're talking about stuff like Fortnite. I think they've got some kind of loot boxes as well. Pinatas, I think that they are. Because, I mean, eventually they are going for a free-to-pay model. I think for the first year, it's going to be classed as early access. You buy a Founders Pack type thing. But a lot of these games now, even if they're full, $60 games, they're still got, microtransactions, and a lot have got these kind of loot crates, loot boxes, whatever. So I can see, even though, the whole Pro Syndicate Team Martin gambling site thing was in the press for, it was at least a couple of weeks, but then it kind of died away. Nobody's thought any more about it since. I can see it happening again with these other games. That, this whole kind of, grey market economy behind, selling and trading gear out of loot crates.
That's the only question about that is whether you can trade gear. Like, that's the one big thing. Like, because Overwatch, you can't trade anything.
Yeah. So, I mean, technically, you couldn't do that with, the CS:GO stuff, but they found ways of selling that, that particular skin for your gun or whatever. So, there are always going to be ways like that. And there's certainly let's say there's some kind of fairly dodgy sites connected to some of the Chinese MMOs and things like that with their own kind of, gold farming and all that kind of thing. So
Gold farming, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised, the way more game companies are embracing the whole kind of microtransaction loot crate system, that we'll start to see more gambling sites and more kind of sites that are, buying and selling crates.
Yeah, that's what worries me. Like, I feel like companies should be doing a pushback against it, and just no trading is the best way I can see that. But there is loot farm. You can pay someone to get you ranked up in Overwatch. You can pay someone to level you in an MMO. This is even back like 10 years ago with like City of Heroes and even like Ultimate Online. You could pay someone to level you up. That was always a thing. Or they give you money. It's always existed, and there's always, like anything, there's a way to make a dime off something.
Yep.
I think the reason why I feel worse for CSGO is because it is gambling. It's getting kids on gambling really early is not something I'm cool with. Like, leveling a kid up, yeah, sure, why not? Give him money because he paid you money. Yeah, okay. It's a good service.
What do you mean? The kids are the ones with the time. We should be paying them to level us up. We've got shit to do.
That's true. That is very true. So, as long as no one does trading like CSGO does, I think I'm fine with it. It's just because how CSGO does it, and I still don't think Steam has done enough about it. And I wonder, just thinking back, was the start of all this TF2 or not? Just with the hat economy. I wonder about that.
Quite possibly, because obviously Valve were looking at some of the way to make money because they weren't making Half-Life 3 or making any games whatsoever. So they had to come up with something. Yeah.
Didn't they hire an economist for the hat economy? I think they did.
Quite mostly possibly. Sure. It wouldn't surprise me.
Like, they did they got somebody on board to help them deal with the economy of that, because it was a moneymaker. It was a crazy moneymaker. Especially if you had Bill's hat from Left 4 Dead. That was always the biggest one. Because there's only so many of those that exist.
Yeah.
People go nuts for that. They're like, I'll give you every single hat in the game for that one hat. Like, people do that. Crazy.
People get stupid crazy for, what is essentially just ones and zeros on a server somewhere. It's not like it's something you own either. It's ones and zeros on a server somewhere. You're never going to...
Yeah, and if TF2 ever dies, it's gone. That's it.
Yeah,
not getting it back. That's my argument, though, for against rarity, where limited time, where you only if you played at this certain time in the past could you get this skin or whatever. I'm like, why? Why? It's basically punishing people who weren't around then, who didn't know the game even existed, or they weren't old enough, they didn't have a computer to play it, and they'll never get to have fun with that limited skin or whatever. And so I've always been against artificial rarity in a digital world.
Yeah. So how do you feel about, timed events? Because obviously going to something like Overwatch, obviously the way they keep refreshing it is to have these kind of events, and a lot of other games do as well, which have, novelty items like, your London 2012 skin, or you've got your Halloween skin or something like that. So they have these events which are designed to keep people interested rather than having a game become stale.
Yeah, as far as those events go, it's fun. Like, the gameplay itself has gotten stale, but these events, they help keep people around. And the thing to that is, those skins aren't going to be gone forever. We're going to see Pumpkin Reaper again next October. We're going to see all these skins next time. The question, of course, is, because I haven't been paying attention right now, I think they're doing a summer Overwatch, and the question is Lucio Ball back? Like, not Lucio Ball, but the Olympic skins, are they back? Can you get them again? Or do you have to wait until 4 years for those Olympic
I think you're going to have to wait for the 4 years.
Oh, well, they will come back, is the one thing. Those are Olympic skins, so yeah, okay. But they will come back. Like, the holiday skins will come back. And so it's just waiting for that holiday, so at least there's that. Whereas other ones, that you'll never see them ever. Like, there's skins that were only for playing beta, and you'll never see these skins ever again. But as far as Overwatch goes, I believe every skin, you can get them again in the future. I don't think there's any beta-only skins. If there are, my bad. I think the only one that maybe is that Widowmaker skin. I'm not sure if you can get that I don't think it's an origin skin. But I could be wrong. Like, off the top of my head, I can't remember. But at least I think you can get every skin again in the future.
Hmm.
So that's more fine to me than something you can never get ever again.
Well, it's Blizzard. They'll find some way of, recycling it and making money off it still.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. No, another thing to touch on, though, is for years, it's been such a pushback by, like, I think our generation. But it is the shifting baseline as new generations come in. And this is what companies rely on, I feel, is it used to be you could microtransaction in a full paid game, no one's gonna accept it ever.
Yeah.
Ever. And now we're slowly been accepting it. Like, because it's been more cosmetic, I suppose. We've been more accepting to it. Like, Overwatch probably was a big push towards it, but it's all cosmetic, doesn't affect gameplay. So we've been okay with that. And other games have done it too. And so I wonder, with the shifting baseline, we're going to get to a point where it will be pay for power, or will we always somehow be able to keep that back? Because companies are always pushing closer and closer.
Yeah.
To just fully doing free to pay while being you paid for the entire game in the first place.
Well, I mean, obviously the scuttlebutt at the moment is, what was it, with Battlefront 2.
That's what I'm thinking of.
They're saying that there's certainly going to be paying for power in that. But they're going to come back and say, well, we're offering you all this DLC for free. We've got to pay for the servers somehow.
Yeah.
Yes, admittedly, the cost of making games is going up year on year, but, your AAA releases are still $60. So, yes, I can see from the developers and the publishers' point of view, they do need to make the money somehow for these bigger and bigger budget games. But on the other hand, you can't keep bleeding us like this. We only have so much money. You can't, because there was like one of these AGM financial reports. The head of Take-Two was saying, "Oh, we're not getting enough money out of customers." This was just before the whole thing with Rockstar and all the mods getting taken offline and that. They were saying, we're not making enough money. This is Take-Two, the parent company of Rockstar and GTA. How much money has that game made? Not only did they sell it to everyone 3 times, last generation console, this generation console, PC, and all the shark cards in the online.
Shark cards.
Yeah, so they still reckon they're not making enough money. They're not happy with most of the money. They want all of the money.
Suppose so. Like, same thing goes with Square. They sold millions and millions, like this couple years back, millions and millions of copies of Tomb Raider, Hitman, and I think also Deus Ex. And they're like, we didn't make enough. It's like, seriously? No. Like, damn. Yeah. Okay. And yeah, that's why Square did with Deus Ex, Mankind Divided. They had those microtransactions, which they're like, yeah, we didn't want those. Obviously, we had to put those in last minute. We're not happy with that. It's such a weird practice putting microtransactions in a single player game. It's a weird concept. Yep. They did it anyway. I don't know about Tomb Raider, what Tomb Raider does, and Hitman. Actually, the Hitman did episodic, which of course, Hitman has left Square Enix, so I'm wondering how that future is going to go, because the first season ended on a cliffhanger, so I'm not happy about that.
Well, thankfully, Hitman has gone with IO, hasn't it? IO still retains it, so it's whether they can actually do it as an independent, or whether they're going to have to look for some other kind of publishing partner or whatever. Yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised we see a season 2 of Hitman. It'll just be maybe smaller. It may be slightly different. It may be a good few years off before we see it. It's not going to be like we're going to get season 2, tail end of this year or next year or whatever. But
yeah, they control it, so it should be fine. Yeah. I was thinking, wait, do they have to just pay Square Enix for whatever? But I think they were able to just take it away amicably, I think.
Yeah, it's just, like I said, I can understand where developers and publishers are coming from, because essentially, budgets are spiraling and the cost of games remains the same, essentially. But on the other hand, take the movie industry, for example. You know, your big tentpole summer blockbusters, your Spider-Man Homecomings and things like that. Billions of dollars, you know, in, you know, revenue for, you know, the budgets do increase, but they still make their money back because they sell the cinema tickets, they sell the DVDs, but they're all at a fixed price. So I think, yes, the game industry needs to kind of innovate and try and find new ways of revenue, but maybe stop bleeding your customers as well.
Yeah.
Because, you know, people only have so much. And the fact is, year on year, we've got more and more choice. So how about, instead of, you know, keep trying to bleed that one customer for, you know, Rockstar looking for those shark card whales and things like that, maybe, you know, consider being nice to your customers, and then they'll keep coming back for your next game and the game after that. So
I'm wondering in a couple different ways. One is, the price can't go up, because then people won't be able to afford to buy the freaking games. I think they need innovations in some way. Maybe there's got to be a way to do less is more. There has to be a way to do less is more in development in some way. I don't know. Like, how well can you recycle assets without it just conflicting? Do they have to make a new engine every? No, they don't. Certain companies, they only have one engine. Let's take EA. When we saw A Way Out, it was a very EA looking game. Everything EA just looks like that. Everything just goes on that engine, and so they've been working on that engine this whole time for who knows how long, and so that does cut some of the budget out. So I don't know. What can they do so it's not? Maybe find a way to expand the base.
Gonna have to sell more hats.
Like we see with the big tent poles, it's like what Marvel did with their movies is they made it that it's just made more and more and more money. It's been able to just grab more people. It's been able to grab a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if there's just a way for games to find be more accessible to more players. Oh, there's only so much time people have to play and everything, because movies are just 2 hours of their time. And it's just an entirely different genre as well, where there's some things you can compare and there's some things you can't, of course. And I don't know what can be done. You saw, like, the episodic idea was one way. They're getting with the loot boxes. What is the way to do it? Because there's only so much you can get out of a player. And there's a lot of indies propping up that can take away some of those players.
Exactly.
Like, for just a cheaper price and an interesting concept on a game.
Yeah.
It's,
you know, you look at people that have spent, you know, hundreds and hundreds of hours in something like Binding of Isaac.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know, you could still pick it up for like $15 or whatever, like, and you can get, you know, several hundred hours out of it. Yeah. Whereas, you know, a big AAA, yes, it may be a 60-hour game, but still, you know, you're paying $60 plus the DLC and all that kind of thing. So it's just, people are dedicated to certain franchises and things like that, which is questionable. You know, when you become a hardcore fan, you'll protect your franchise, even if, you know, it's going down the toilet and that. But
yeah, like, plenty of people weren't happy with the, like, Mankind Divided. Again, microtransactions in a single player game. I wasn't happy about it. I'm like, I'm still going to play the game. And that's part of the problem, is like, well, do you take a stand, or do you want to support them?
Yeah.
But you also want to take a stand against this, and it's just, what is the right way to go? It's because if enough people take a stand, well then, yes, Square Enix, here's the message. But also, Mankind Divided suffered. Like, that developer suffers because they didn't make as much money. And so, I don't know, because it's like, you took a stand against the microtransactions, but maybe they won't see it as anti-microtransactions. They'll just see it that people just didn't like the game.
Yeah, so, right, okay, we'll scrap the entire franchise and just move on to something else.
Yeah, and that's the problem, is you don't know what the execs are going to think, because they're balls insane.
Yeah.
It's all about money, but sometimes they just decide, well, this isn't the thing anymore. So I don't know. And he's like, I just don't know. You want to support your game or not? I really enjoy. I didn't like what they're doing with Hitman, but in the end, I was like, yeah, this is pretty fun. I like it. Got Hitman, Mankind Divided, same thing. And I really want the new Star Wars, but I really don't like what I keep hearing about what they're gonna do. I'm like, I want to be a droid so bad.
Roger.
Roger. And I just, all the loot box stuff just worries me so bad. It's just.
But you're going to get all this free DLC. No, you're paying for the DLC with the microtransactions.
Yep. So I just don't know. I don't know. I really don't. It's this thing about taking your stand or whatever. One of the people I look up to, of course, is Total Biscuit, and he's taken a stand on a couple of things. He took a stand on Mass Effect 3, boycotted that. He's never played it. And he might be fine for that considering what happened in that game, but at the time, this is the most anticipated game for everybody right at this moment, and he's not playing it because he had his standpoint on that, and he's done that with a few games. And I wonder if I think there's it's a good idea to do that, but it's also you don't want to kill a franchise. Like if enough people do it, you worry what is it that the execs see? Do they see that people took a stand?
The bottom line, where the numbers add up, and if they don't add up to what they think they should add up to, then that's it, it's dead.
Yeah, that's it, it's dead. And that's how the decision that this genre's done, or that's done. That's how we got Resident Evil 6 to happen. That's how that happened. That amazing mess. I just don't know. Like it's this rabbit hole of I think you're damned no matter what you do. And so it's up to you what it is that should be done. But I would hate to see Deus Ex stop happening. I'd hate to see Hitman stop happening. I would not want that to happen, of course. So I don't know. Battlefront, I want to play it. I want to play it real bad. So again, I don't know.
So what are you actually looking forward to? Because like we said, we are still technically in the summer drought. We're still waiting, those must-have titles. What are you playing at the moment? What's tiding you over? What are you looking forward to over the next couple of months?
So I got into Life is Strange because the Steam sale, $5 for the whole season.
Yeah,
like, okay.
Likewise, I picked it up. I haven't booted it up yet, but that's on my list to do.
That is a ride. That is a ride. Like Jags played it. I think she's doing the third episode right now. So I talked with her about the first two, and it's a ride. It's too much like so many other things where it's this amazing show and then the ending just doesn't satisfy you in any way. That's how I feel about Life is Strange. That's how I feel about a lot of things. I can't think of the last satisfying ending I've gotten because it's hard to get a satisfying ending. It really is.
But is it the whole thing of, they have to leave it open for a sequel, or at least in this case a prequel and that? Or is it a case of they didn't really know what they wanted to do with the ending? As I say, I've not played it yet. It's on it's in the Steam library. It's even downloaded. It's just I've not clicked it yet.
Yeah, that's the thing is I really don't know if I should have mentioned the ending at all because that's my opinion, but there's so many games where all this craziness happens and then the ending and you're like, I don't know if I buy that. It's like Lost. Like too many things are lost. I missed your question. What was it you're saying? Like
what are you playing and what are you looking forward to?
Oh yeah. So it was Life is Strange, and the idea was to play Life is Strange and to tide over. So we had that because the prequel's coming in the 31st.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't stop playing. It's really good. It's like a really good book. You can't stop playing it.
Yeah.
And so I played it all the way through, and it ends on the 27th. The prequel comes out on the 31st. So that's great. That's really
perfect timing.
So I did that. I've been playing Final Fantasy 14. So a beautiful thing about Final Fantasy 14, it's really good. I've already played 80 hours in 2 weeks.
Ouch.
This is what's nice about it, though. It has a free trial demo thing. It's the entire game for the first 35 levels. And there are like 8, maybe 7 fighting classes, and then there's 8 crafters, and then 3 gatherer classes. So you can go up to level 35 in all of them.
All of them.
For free. And that's such a good deal. The only limitations are you can't have a friends list. You can't party up unless someone who owns the game parties with you.
Okay.
And a couple other limitations. But for the most part, you can play this game for free up to level 35. And that is a lot of content. So it's a nice free trial. And during the summer sale, it was like you could get the game for like $5 or $6 off. So like, okay, I'm having a lot of fun. It's not a bad deal at all. So there you go.
Yeah. If you've already sunk that many hours into it, maybe worth picking up there.
Yeah. And it's I think it's 12 a month subscription because it's MMO.
Yeah.
You only get one character, but you can get everything with one character. That's the cool thing. You can freely change classes with one character. You can do everything with them. And it's a little bit more if you want to have multiple characters. Right. Like if you want to have a short person, you want a cat girl, you want all these things. That's what you do. I just have like this little short character called a Lalafell, and they have the pompadour. So it's this little short person with a pompadour, and they're just the best character ever. And it just looks awesome. And I'm just having so much fun playing that game. And so that's what I've been doing.
So once again, a game that's all about hats.
Those two games currently for the summer. And then looking forward, I'm looking at XCOM 2 expansion. That'll be in August 29th. That'll be coming. And then September, I know that... No. If you're a console player, September's Destiny 2. October, though, is where there's too much crap going on. Shadow of War.
As
Destiny
always,
2 for
October,
PC.
November, that's just where everything goes to shit.
Yeah.
We have like 3 months of nothing out, and then there's like everything in
everything happens.
2 weeks.
And Wolfenstein's also going to happen then. Battlefront's in November or September, I forget right now. I think it's November. And if you're into Dishonored 2, there's going to be an expansion there. And so there's so much at the end of the year. And if you're into Switch, there's going to be Mario Odyssey. And I don't remember when Data War comes out. But there's just so many games at the end of the year. And it's like, it's going to be an embarrassment of riches of things to play at the end. Where it's like, where am I going to fit all this stuff? I have no idea. I really don't. Because I really want to play Destiny 2. Because I feel like they learned a lot of lessons from Destiny 1.
Yeah.
And you got Wolfenstein 2. Wolfenstein 1 was an incredible experience. A great narrative experience. They knocked out the park.
Again, it's one I haven't never got around to playing, but I did pick it up on the Steam sale.
So there's
you go. Another one that is in the library and is ready there.
You get a lot of the old Wolfenstein vibe.
Yeah.
But the storytelling is is really good storytelling. Great voice work. Gunplay is very fun. Wolfenstein is very good. So playing that before 2 is a good idea for sure. Because 2 looks like it's a lot of that, but I think they've even made it even better. And then Shadow of War. Again, Shadow Mordor was amazing. Nemesis System was incredible. They showed a lot of what they've learned from that. There's more characterization.
Have you booted up the Nemesis Forge and got ready to transfer your character across?
You can do that? I didn't even know.
Yeah, you can transfer one of your Nemesises and one of your allies across into Shadow of War, and they'll turn up.
Oh, I did not know that. That's exciting, because of course it's one game to the other. I did not know. I think the sale's over, but they were selling that game for $4.
Yeah.
And that was like, this is an incredible game worth like 100+ hours.
Yeah,
you really
and for that price, it was the kind of ultimate edition or whatever it was.
Yeah.
The one with everything included. So that was one of the best deals there was during the Steam sale.
That's an incredible deal. I'm like, I couldn't believe it was like $4 for that. Was a good deal. That was a great deal. Life is Strange was a great deal. Maybe some other ones, but those are the two that really stood out with those deals. And I'm so excited for that game. Like, I remember when Shadow Mordor was coming. I was like, I don't know about this Nemesis System. It sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Gameplay looks all right. Looks like you're just kind of playing Assassin's Creed, Arkham Knight kind of thing. But I'm really curious about the Nemesis System. Then it comes up like, yes.
Going back to another one you mentioned, obviously XCOM 2. I've been avidly watching all the kind of the build up stuff, and there's been a lot of kind of the bigger sites have done playthroughs of the Lost and Abandoned, which is the first mission featuring the zombies and that. A lot of them doing in interviews with Jake Sullivan, and he said the whole thing with the Chosen did kind of spring out of Shadow Mordor and the Nemesis System because obviously in the expansion Wolf of the Chosen, it's you have the Chosen, which are the enemy classes, and then you've got the the new hero classes, but they've each got their own nemesis, which is kind of built on the chosen on the fly, randomly generated in that. So that whole idea of these enemies are nemesis was kind of born out of Shadow of Mordor. He fully admitted that. I've said before, I'm surprised because, as soon as Shadow of Mordor came out, everyone said, right, everyone's going to be doing Nemesis systems in their games in the coming years. But there has been very few. I can't think of any in particular that have instigated that kind of whole Nemesis system.
Yeah, I can't think of any at all. And that's it's really disappointing that no one ever took it. So at least they've expanded on themselves. But I couldn't believe no one really took it. Like, no one ran with it. Like, this was something worth running with. Such an interesting idea.
It must have been one of those things. It was, it was so cool. It was so, it's kind of so immersive in that. But once people got under the hood to actually see how it works, most people just go, no, it's going to be too expensive to implement. We just can't get that into the programming. No, forget it. We're not even going to try.
I think there's potential.
I think at the end of the day, it might have been like a technical thing, just...
Yeah.
The developers behind it just absolutely nailed it, and nobody can kind of replicate it.
Like, it could have been interesting in maybe a more scaled down Saints of what's it called right now? Saints Row. Like a more scaled down Saints Row where you got rival gang nemesis. That could have been a thing. Or even with GTA, if they did gangs again, that would be something they could have done. Or just any game with tribes or a lot of just fighters, or even racers could have had a Nemesis system. Some sort of racing game could have had a Nemesis system. And no one did it. And it's just one of those disappointments. But maybe this even bigger Nemesis system might get people into it. Because I just like how your own guys have Nemesis systems now. And they've just expanded on it. And they'll have their own stories with Nemesis. Like that's cool. That's really
their
cool.
Stories live up to Bruce.
No. Now, that's the thing that I'm so hype about is just playing that game.
As soon as you boot it up, you're going to go looking for Bruce, aren't you?
Yes. I just want the game to know, the game just knows, you're looking for Bruce, aren't you? He's over there. He's over there. We know. You want to try to save, what's his name? The guy who sacrifices himself. Can't remember his name. Poor guy, he got replaced by Bruce pretty quick, didn't he? It was like, you want to save him? You want to save his life? Make sure he doesn't get killed this time? I said it in another podcast where I'm like, you want the real tears, you want the real fan tears? Kill Bruce in the final mission. Kill him in the final mission. I will die inside if he dies. No.
So okay, it's a toss up between Bruce in Shadow of War or was it the dog in the new Far Cry? Your dog companion. Which is going to be the more heartfelt, if they die in the final mission.
Dogs always got to die, don't they? They better not kill that dog. They better not kill that dog. I swear, they either always kill a dog or they put him in so much peril. You're man, God really hates that dog.
Yeah, the thing isn't in the new Far Cry, the whole thing is the dog fetches weapons for you. It's going to be he fetches a grenade, isn't it?
Oh. I want that to be a random thing that happens. The dog accidentally fetches a live grenade, and you grab oh shit, you just gotta throw it away or something. I want that. I want that now. Because it's the new dog meat. Because dog meat did that in Fallout since 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And I think since 1. And dog meat doesn't die unless things go wrong for dog meat. It's just the thing. It's always kill the main character's companions. To punch him in the gut, it's always that's writing 101. Yeah. Kill the love interest or kill their companion. And
Night of the Long Dark.
Yeah, kill Bruce. Don't kill Bruce, but kill Bruce.
Kill Bruce, no.
If it's kill Galadriel's assassin, I won't give a crap. I don't care. Badass assassin, fine. She looks cool. Yeah, I like badass chicks, but Bruce is where my heart is right now. I'm just looking forward to it being you build up your family of followers. They have their own Nemesis systems. You're grooming these guys to be these great warriors for your crew and everything, and then one of them gets cut down while you're away, and you just burn the earth looking for the guy who killed him. I know it's going to happen to some people, and I can't wait to see that. Just everything dies for vengeance. I want to see that storyline play out. But what about you? What have you been doing for the summer to tide over?
Well, I've really been struggling. I mean, the ones I am looking forward to, I'm looking forward to at least checking out Agents of Mayhem. So I have gone back to Saints Row just to get my head in the right place for, absolute anarchy and hilariousness.
Oh god, Dildo Bat Clan is going to happen at some point. I'm sure someone's going to do that.
And like you said, also stuff like XCOM. I'm playing a bit more of a Shadow and Mordor again, building up for that. But like you said, it's kind of there's too much to look forward to at the end of the year. It's trying to pick right. Well, I'm definitely going for that. I'm definitely going for that. So I mean, one thing I'm playing at the moment, I'm replaying Transistor, ready for 2 weeks' time when Pyre comes out from Supergiant, which apparently is where both Bastion and Transistor were kind of quite short games, but very kind of narrative driven. This, they've said there isn't a particular time limit on it, so you can play as much as you want. So the whole idea being, you're these banished creatures out in the wilderness trying to, fight their way back into civilization or whatever it is. It sounds like you could just wander the wasteland aimlessly, just, fighting enemies. Yeah, I want to play that game. I don't know too much about it because I'm trying to keep myself a little isolated from it. I just want to experience it fresh and anew as soon as it comes out. So that's definitely on the list. And that's only, a week and a half, 2 weeks away, something like that.
It's pretty close by. It's almost here.
Yeah.
I've been so back and forth on that. I just don't know because they are short narrative. Like right now, they've only done short narrative. And they've been incredible. Like, Bastion is, it's freaking Bastion. Put them on the map. It was an amazing game.
Yeah.
Transistor, I liked a lot of these they did. It didn't hit the mark the same way Bastion did. It didn't hit the mark at all. It was pretty good. I like Transistor. Did you play the whole thing or just playing it now? Transistor?
I when it originally came out, I played like the first hour or so, and it was one of those, I'm going to get back to this. This is my excuse to get back to it. So I'm almost at the end. I think like an hour away from the end. So.
Okay, so it's such an interesting combat system idea.
Yeah.
It looks nice. It sounds great. It just didn't hit the same mark Bastion did. I liked it, but it's just a different thing. And now here's Pyre. Like, I like that they're doing different things every time. Because Transistor is very different from Bastion. Pyre is going to be very different from the previous two.
Pyre's almost like a sports game.
Yeah. And
the combat is essentially like 3-on-3 basketball, essentially.
Yeah. And so I'm back and forth on it. I just don't know if I want to wait and see or if I want to dive in at the start. I'm really not sure. And I'm also just not sure about the story on this one. Like, I'm not trying to see Bastion again. Like, it'd be a bad thing to just compare everything to Bastion.
That's a high watermark to measure anything against.
Like, I'm not trying to do that, but at the same time, like, these guys made Bastion, so it kind of am. I don't mean to, but I'm looking for Bastion again, kind of. Like, maybe I should just play Bastion. That's. But I just don't know. Like, it should be fun. It should be interesting. I just don't know if I want to wait and see instead of just dive in. But they've made 2 solid games already.
Yep.
I just don't know. Like, it's partially being kind of frugal because of what's coming later.
Yeah.
Because of October, because of late August and November. Like, there's so many things coming. It's like, well, should I hold out on Pyre for now because I have to buy all that later?
Yeah.
That's part of the problem. And so I don't know. Because there's only so much money you can have.
Yeah.
And
unless you're the game developers, then you have to have all the money.
Yes. Like, it's an investment of time, it's an investment of games, everything, because we do content creation, so it's like, do I want to do Pyre? Do I want to do Pyre when it comes out, because that'll be when the views are? But is it a game I want to do right now, or should I be holding out for all the big games later? Of course, when you do
then the big games later, they're going to take out, 30, 40, 60 hours, whatever it is.
Yeah. And that's the kick in the pants always, and that's why everyone loves Steam Sale, is, well, things are cheaper, so you can afford to get those things later. Like, if you never played Shadow of Mordor, and the $4 deal was an amazing deal.
Exactly, yeah.
So stuff like that does happen. And it does lead to the question, does the Steam Sale help or hurt at the end of the day? And I have no idea. Like, because people always wait out for the Steam Sale. And it's always, a cheaper deal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, stuff like Wolfenstein, as I said, I never got a chance to play it when it came out. A couple of years later, whatever it is, picking up as a bargain like this, that's an ideal kind of Steam sale purchase. But for its part, I think Steam sale is a good thing. It gives people a chance to pick up something they were, dubious about buying when it was, $60, but to pick it up for, a $5.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're only going to spend a couple of hours with it, then at least to try it out, but because it's one of those things now, games don't really do demos. It's a case of we get these whole, join the beta weekend, you sign up and or pre-order, get access to beta. They try and use betas now as demos, but back in the day, you went down the shops, you went down the newsagents and got your magazine with the demo disc on, and you could try out a bunch of upcoming games, and that helped you make a decision. Right, well, I'm going to buy this one. Now you're lucky if you get a demo 3 months after a game comes out.
Oof.
So it's, I think Steam sales are helpful in that respect, because most people don't have all the money in the world and aren't going to be able to buy every AAA title that comes out as soon as it comes out. So being able to pick it up a year, maybe a couple of years later at £5, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah. I think it's kind of just which angle you're looking at it from. I think certain devs, they don't like the Steam sale because I'm making less money here. And other devs well, people are playing my damn game, yay!
Yep.
And then for us as consumers, it's a good thing because we can get things we couldn't get in any other way. And for some, people just don't have a lot of money, so they're able to get games that way. And then you can think cynically about the people who are I'll only wait for the sale.
Yeah.
But there's just so many different angles on it, and for me, I think it's more positive than anything at the end of the day. Just more people playing games.
Yeah, and then you have some devs that release their last game for free.
Oh yeah, I want to talk about that.
It segues here for you. I purposely set that one up.
Yeah, Jotun, by the time this podcast comes out, it's too late, but
yeah.
Sundered's coming. It's almost here. I think it's the 28th or 27th?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, 27th, 28th, Sundered comes out. So for the weekend where we're recording this, Jotun's being given out for free. I've told everyone I can. It's coming out. Yes. It's out for free so they can get it.
And it's not just Steam. You can get it on GOG.
GOG.
You can get it, yeah. So it's if you want to go DRM free, it's a fantastic little game. It's definitely worth picking up. And to use that as a marketing tool to actually go, look, get this free, and we've got our new one coming out in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, so it's if you like this, maybe you'll like the next game.
Yeah.
Which
did you manage to get a chance to play the preview demo build thing they had when it was the Kickstarter for Sundered?
Yeah, I got to play that. It's interesting. It's, of course, it's a demo. It's an actual demo. It's very much, you get to do this one area. They put in some cool things for you to see while you're in there. It's very much a demo. And it looks nice. It plays pretty good. The one thing I feel that hurts Sundered is the fact Dead Cells exists.
Yeah.
Because it just did everything that game's doing, but better. And so the game's almost here. It's under embargo until release, but I'm going to take a look at it.
Yeah.
I'm going to see what I think. Have a video ready when it comes out. Have my thoughts on that. But yeah, I played that before Dead Cells. I'm wow, this is after Dead Cells, and then thinking about wow, Dead Cells did everything better, unfortunately. But
yeah,
they are kind of different beasts.
The thing is, Dead Cells is still updating regularly. Yeah. It's like there's an update every week, every other week, or something like that. New stuff being added.
Yeah.
And Dead Cells still in early access, but I've seen full release titles that are less complete than Dead Cells.
Yes, they are. The one thing that Sundered might have going for it is it has a different feel to it. It's very Cthulhu feel.
Yeah.
And also it's a Metroidvania that has an ending to it. While Dead Cells is a roguelike. This is a roguelike as well. Because the levels are generated.
Yeah, they're doing something very similar with the kind of the level design. Yeah. There's kind of core areas, but all the kind of pathways there are kind of randomly generated in that.
I like that idea. It's the things are set, but how they're designed on the way is random. That's a pretty cool idea. The one problem is there's just so much of there's only so many tentacles before you're just like, okay, I'm tired of all the damn tentacles.
Yeah.
And this is only based off that demo. I haven't played the full one yet, and even if I did, I couldn't talk about it anyway. But from playing the demo, it was very much a demo. It's just the one song playing over and over. Everything's just has this one look to it. Just a very big map of the same looking thing. The enemies were you got some pretty cool enemies. You got to fight a boss at the end. The boss is pretty big and intimidating. And I liked it. I really liked it. It was a pretty good new Metroidvania. Just Dead Cells happened. But I got a copy. I'm gonna take a look at it. If I really like it, I'll play out the whole thing and maybe do a review instead of a preview. But if I don't, if I still recommend it, of course I'll do a video on it. But there's gonna be a video on this no matter what. Like this is a game people are looking forward to. It'll either be a preview or
I'm interested to go back because it was that demo is what, a year or so ago now or whatever it is. So I'm intrigued to see how far along it's come and that, because I really like the art style to it. The kind of the hand drawn, like you said, it was very twisted, very Lovecraftian horrors and all this kind of thing. I did kind of like that. Whereas Dead Cells, the one thing I have against it is I'm just getting a little burnt out on pixel art, because I get at least one pixel art game in my inbox every day. But then again, Dead Cells, the mechanics of it, the variety of it, just the feel of it is brilliant. So I can kind of put aside that the whole thing is it's another pixel art game. Oh no.
I wasn't interested in it at all. I was like, okay, whatever. It's just another roguelike. And then it was like, it's really good. Like, I've had a copy for like a week. I better check this out already. I was like, it's good. And it's you could sit there for a good amount of time just playing that and then put it away and then play it again. And the one thing I really appreciate about that game is you can save anytime. Yep. Like so many roguelikes are you can only save when you're dead, or you can only save you can only save when you're dead. You can save any time with this. So like that is such a nice thing, because that is the pick up and play.
I've played a bit of it and then you've gone, oh right, I need to pop out, come back to the shop, from the shops, sign up again. Oh shit, this is exactly where I left off. I wasn't expecting I was expecting to start from the beginning again.
I really liked it. Like I was surprised. I didn't know they were going to do that.
Yeah.
And what I like is there's different styles to it, because you can take your time, or you can go speed through it because there's speed doors and everything. Yep. And then you can take a harder route, an easier route. There's so much to that game. They really nailed it.
We start off talking about Sundered and go straight to Dead Cells.
Sorry, Sonny. Yeah, there's just so many good games. We're in a good era as far as games go. We're in the golden age. We've been in the golden age. Because we're at the inception of it. And there's just been so many great games every year, so many amazing games, so many new takes on games. And we're just in a great age for it. And we're also in the age where there's also growing pains and microtransaction stuff and all that, where we get to see the good and bad. Yeah. And I wonder what it'll be in another 10 years, what happens next and all that. Well, we'll get to see it unless there's not going to be a bubble. I don't know why people keep worrying there's going to be a bubble. There's too many.
They've been saying for a while they reckon there's an indie crunch happening or going to happen or things like that. Yeah. But I think we're all right. There was kind of questionable at times where we thought, oh, can it continue like this? But I think because the big AAAs are getting bigger and, more spectacular and huge budgets, and they're gouging us for all this money, there is always going to be space for the little guy. Yeah. And the indies are telling smaller, interesting stories, which is, we need to have that balance between these huge spectacles in the AAA and then these, smaller experiences which the indies are actually fulfilling.
Yeah. And then we're seeing, I think the ones who are suffering the most are the middle ground, where they're indies, but they're a little more expensive. Interesting concept. Like, I don't think it's enough of concept for this much price. And you're just like, I don't know, at a cheaper price, I think they'd sell more, but they're selling at 40.
Like you said, it's those mid-tier ones, like what THQ used to be. Yeah. THQ always used to be kind of like one of those mid-tier publishers and things like that, which unfortunately, more of those have disappeared, and they've either been swallowed up by the bigger guys, or those teams have kind of disbanded and gone off and done their own thing.
Yeah, it feels like we're just hitting two extremes here, whether we like it or not, in a way. Like, because you have to have money for the big ones, but if you only have so much money, then you're doing the little ones. And everyone in between, it's just like they're vanishing.
You think there'd be a gap in the market there, and there'd be more people trying to get into that gap, but evidently the budgets aren't available for it.
Yeah, it's weird. It's unfortunate because there are some things I'd like to see. Like, again, it's just you don't want to see anyone fail. You want to see everyone succeed. Sometimes people just make a lemon, but you just think of the years they put into it, and you just kind of feel bad. It's like, damn, they put in so much time in this, and it just doesn't take off. And it's just, there's always going to be people who don't make it. That's the unfortunate thing. A lot of people are going to make it, a lot of people aren't going to make it. And I don't know, there's so many developers like, great idea, nice person, just didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's a heartbreaker every time. And
then you have the Peter Molyneux of the world. Sorry. I had to.
Oh my god. Oh god. Oh my god. Oh, you son of a... Shut up, Peter Molyneux. Well, the developer for A Way Out, he's like Peter Molyneux, but with more charisma.
Yeah.
I'm kind of scared of those guys propping up more. Because they'll get more money out of you on that. Great ideas, what the hell. But they're still not bad. They're still not bad. I think we've talked a good amount, so we should wrap this up. Always good talking to you, John.
Thank you.
So, the way to end out, of course, is a lesson. Like, what have you learned? So, again, just any more advice to give to anyone just starting up?
If you're planning on doing gaming content, or whether it's YouTube or Twitch, have a plan for the summer. I think it's basically what we can take away from this.
Considering it.
Going back to where we started with the show, always look to kind of change things up. Don't be afraid to, make mistakes and make changes and things like that, and just adapt and just go with the flow. Have a plan, but be free enough to, pick and choose and try new stuff. And have a plan for the summer, because there's not going to be any games.
Oh, geez. Or you're just doing a bunch of retro because it's all the old games there. So do that if you want. You could always I never played this. Let's all check this out.
Yep.
There's a thing as well. But so that has been basically a podcast with me, LostScarf, and Jon from Killer Bits. And where can everyone find you at the end of this whole thing?
Well, you can find us across all the social medias over at The Killer Bits. I dare say there's going to be links down below or something down there. Yeah. So, yeah, you can find me at The Killer Bits. Come say hi, and I will see you again, probably. You'll probably write me in another time, won't you?
Oh, yeah. You're too good a guest not to have with people. That's for sure.
I'm a cheap date, I know.
You've done plenty of drinking for it, for sure. Oh, this is going all right. Okay, all right.
Cheers,
see
everyone.
you next time, everyone.